Hopefully it works. Oh, yep, sounds like it works. There it goes. Jesus said the first commandment is this: Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is the only Lord. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Please be seated. First of all, I hate to disappoint you, but I am not Tim Kingsley, even though your bulletin says so. We made a quick change after I'd already printed them, so he shall return. I apologize if you came to hear him. Before I begin my theological musings on this morning's scripture, I would like us to be on the same page, so to speak. So there's a word that I needed to look up, and I needed to hear the pronunciation. It's in our first reading. Diadem. Put on your head the diadem of the glory of everlasting. A diadem is a type of crown, but really more an ornament of royalty. Think Princess Diana. Beautiful crown-like headpiece, but not anywhere near Queen Elizabeth's big crown. And a diadem can be worn by anyone of royal background. And some of us, myself included, think of Sunday morning scripture options to include an Old Testament reading from the Hebrew Bible, a psalm, and a New Testament reading, then a gospel. So what is this Baruch doing in our second Sunday of Advent readings? And where in the Old Testament is Baruch? Or, since when is Baruch even part of the Old Testament? The answer is since never. It is and has been for centuries a part of the Apocrypha, or the hidden books, which our ancestors during waves of Protestant reform grouped together in our Protestant Bible under Apocrypha. Take the time this winter to explore Tobit, Judith, Sirach, Wisdom, and others. But back to Baruch. Baruch was a scribe for the prophet Jeremiah. And in Judea, while Jeremiah and Baruch were working together, this was a very tumultuous time in its history. Hatred, chaos, fear, and unrest was the norm. Alas, it would be very easy to compare that time to our present-day national sense of fear, chaos, unrest, and an underlying distrust of other people. So listen to this passage again, but with your 21 ears, okay? Not dwelling on the difficulties, Baruch, or maybe it was Jeremiah, is telling us, take off the garment of your sorrow and affliction, O Jerusalem, and put on forever the beauty of the glory from God. Put on the robe of the righteousness that comes from God. Put on your head the diadem of the glory of the everlasting. Because last week, in our Old Testament reading of Jeremiah, we heard, I will cause a righteous branch to spring up for David, and he shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In those days, Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will live in safety. All these writings are reminiscent of the prophet Isaiah's writings in his chapter 11. And chapter 11 is part of the lessons that we hear leading up to our Christmas story, aka advertisement for 9 Lessons and Carols, which is on Sunday, December 19th. Chapter 11, Isaiah. A shoot will come forth from the stump of Jesse, and a branch will grow out of its roots. Both prophets, Jeremiah and Isaiah, promise. They promise that someday someone will arise again from the lineage of David. But what is this righteous branch? But what is this robe of righteousness? Examples of righteousness include virtue, goodness, peace, decency, justice, to name a few. The rally cry for Baruch's time was, "Righteous peace, godly glory, arise, O Jerusalem." In our time, it is, no justice, no peace. The 21st century prophet Bayard Rustin wrote, "Social peace cannot exist in a vacuum. It is a byproduct of justice obtained." Whatever century, people long for a prophet of peace, an example of righteousness, someone to tell us how to live, someone to follow. In our scripture today, we then heard the Song of Zechariah. The Song of Zechariah is a love song. It is a blessing of thanksgiving that Zechariah is finally able to speak upon his newborn son, John. John is the cousin to Jesus. John the Baptizer, a prophet, born to prepare the way. We then hear the Apostle Paul's letters to the Christians of Philippi. It is also a sort of love letter, thanking and blessing God and these new Christians for following the way of truth and justice and love. And our gospel from Dr. Luke, he reminds us all how difficult this road to righteousness truly is, echoing Baruch in a description of high mountains and deep, difficult valleys. Today's collection of scripture is a walk through history that started with Abraham and on through prophet after prophet after prophet. Yet we as a people never seem to learn. Our God is forever in the business of raising up leaders who are dedicated to the cause of justice and righteousness of the world, but we just don't seem to learn. We as Christians are entering a new year, an Advent period of waiting and anticipating the birth of Jesus. We wait for the one who will bring us peace. We wait for the one that will bring us peace with justice. We wait for the one who will bring us joy. We wait for the one that will bring us joy with righteousness. We simply cannot have one without the other because our God does not promise one without the other. But why do we anticipate and then celebrate and then seem to forget and fall right back into the rut of chaos, hatred, and wickedness? It's like a terrible replay and replay and replay and replay of the movie Groundhog's Day. The time period for Jeremiah and Baruch is 600 BC. The Apostle Paul hung out with those in the area of Philippi in 60 AD. Bayard Rustin graced us with his writing and hard work post-World War II. And we are now. No justice, no peace. Advent is not a time for fear. Advent is not a time for hiding, for arming oneself against something unknown. It is not a time to stockpile toilet paper and guns. Advent is the time to open up to the future of God, the creator of all. Not a future defined by a goal of righteousness, but a present time of righteousness. A time to embrace the suffering here at home, here, in this space. It is a time to embrace the suffering right outside our doorstep and outside of our borders. The time is now to assist those who are oppressed in a multitude of ways. Replay after replay after replay, assist, love, hold up, stand up, pray, feed, embrace, repeat, repeat. This Advent, the rest of the year, gives us all an opportunity to have an open and welcome heart. I pray that this Advent helps us understand and let us all be open to the messengers of the way, especially those whom at first glance we might resist. For who are we to say that we actually know what a prophet looks like?